Pull this round, get it closer so you can see me, and hopefully it's in position. I think I've got it roughly where I need it to have it, so that's good. Now I'm just going to turn some lights on. Oh, it's a one lighter and two lights, and adjust. I'm pretty sure that's about as good as it's going to get. Now where is it? Where is this live stream? Is it actually there? Show me, show me. Yes, there it is. Bingo, found it. And the sound is coming up, which is good news. Okay, well, that's good news. Right, I'll give people, I don't know, I think what's reasonable, another minute before. How's it going, Mark? Isn't that hat hot, Fred? Actually, Mark, this hat is super hot because I closed all of the... I'm going to turn the speaker off. The feedback's just annoying. Okay. I know the sound's working because I can hear it through my speaker. I closed all the windows and doors. I am cooking. And the longer this live stream takes place, and the longer I take to get it done, the more I will perspire and possibly pass out. So... I'm going to try to get it done fairly quickly, because then after this, I'm going to move my desk and I'm going to set up my new webcam and my microphone and try to figure out how to use everything with OBS. So this is my plan for today. Less filming and just do this live stream and then get into setting it all up and getting the professional gear running so I don't have to use the phone anymore. Mark, right there with you, sitting in front of a window here. Yeah, well, I like summer, I just don't like it when all the windows are closed. But the problem is there's so much sound coming through, all the birds and so forth. Anyway, there's 3 people in the room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this, and then there'll be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the live stream. And as always, even if it's unrelated to the topic I'm talking about, I will answer other types of questions. If people have questions they think I could answer, I will repeat that I don't know the answer to everything. There are things I can't answer questions to. I'm not all-knowing. So let's get the ball rolling. Hi, welcome to howtod&d. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. In particular, we're going to talk about legendary creature Lairs. I had somebody ask me about legendary creature Lairs. I think that was yesterday, and I didn't really have enough information. I realized I needed to do a video on the topic, so I've done a few notes and I've got something to present to you. So first of all, legendary creatures are that's a creature that's really sort of been around quite a long time. They're usually listed as legendary. They have to spend great amounts of time, quite a long time, in that particular environment for it to be classified as a legendary creature lair. And then it will take on some special effects and actions of its own, which the creature can use. You can look on page 11 of the Monster Manual for details on Lairs. There is a couple of captions, paragraphs, a little bit of information on how they actually work. So what I thought I would do is just go over that information first. Once I've explained that as best I can, I'm going to provide you with an example, and then there'll be questions and answers. You can ask questions to your heart's delight after that. So, first of all, there are 2 basic things that each lair will tend to have. That is the lair actions, where the lair actually gets to do something if the legendary creature wants it to do something. So they are activated and harnessed by that legendary creature, whether it be a dragon or a beholder or whatever. Then there are things that just keep happening, and they are called regional effects. They happen pretty much all the time. As long as the legendary creature resides in the lair and is still alive, then that regional effect stays in place. Hopefully that makes sense. So legendary actions will take place in combat, and regional effects just keep going all the time. Now, why does a lair have this special property? And the concept is that the creature you're dealing with is magical in some sense, and it's imbuing or passing on, or magic is leaking from that creature into the environment that it lives in. And so the lair becomes magical itself. That's the whole concept behind lairs. Lairs usually have an initiative, and I think almost always, I know it's listed as 20, but I'm pretty sure lairs always have an initiative of 20. So you don't roll for an initiative for a lair. And if it has a tie with a player character or an NPC, then the lair will lose that initiative roll. Basically, it's going to go, so both player character and the lair have an initiative of 20. The lair goes after the player character. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, when it comes to using those things, those lair actions, the creature actually has to decide to do that. And it has to be able to make an action, take an action itself. So if it's incapacitated or it's dead, it can't use, or unconscious, it can't actually use the lair actions. It needs to be actually conscious and able to actually do something. If it is dead, obviously that's not surprisingly. Surprised would be another thing. If the creature is surprised in a combat, then the lair actions can't be used until after the surprise round, or the first round when there is surprise taking place. So that's the basics. Okay, can't be incapacitated, must have an action, and can't be surprised. So there's the gist of it. Next, legendary effects are always in effect, as I said, and they can disappear immediately when a legendary creature is killed, or it might take some time for the effect to slowly wear off. It might take days, it might take hours, it depends. Usually it's hours and days. The most common ones that I've seen are days. You roll some sort of dice, and that tells you how long it will last. So that's the basic concept of the lair. Now let's go into an example. I have pulled up on the monster manual probably the best option, I think, in terms of an example, and that is the ancient red dragon or the adult red dragon. And you can find the information on page 99 of the monster manual. So I'm going to go through this very, very carefully, just sort of explain it as I go. When it comes to using those legendary actions, you can only use one action at a time. And you don't use the legendary action of the lair, okay? You don't use the legendary action of the lair until you get to that initiative. Does that make sense? So you can only do it once. It's not like you get 3. You can't use it 3. It's not a legendary creature action, it's a lair action. So once on the initiative of 20. Now, the options here for the red dragon are a magma erupts, and there's a tremor shake, and there's also a volcanic gas. And I'll read through them and explain them a little bit, and then we'll go on to the regional effects. There's quite a few. There's like 3 different regional effects for the red dragon, and not all lairs will have as many as that. So for magma erupting, from a point on the ground, the dragon can see within 20 feet of it. It creates a 20-foot high, 5-foot radius geyser. So that's a stream of magma that sort of shoots out of the ground in its lair. Each creature in the geyser's area must make a DC or difficulty class 15 saving throw. That's a dexterity saving throw. Or they're going to take 21 damage, or you roll 6 six-sided dice, or 6d6. That's on a failed save. If you succeed on the save, or the player, the characters, or whoever's in the lair, if they succeed, they only take half damage. So it's pretty powerful, and that's essentially like fighting another creature. The lair is like another creature in itself, which is really awesome, and legendary creatures should have that sort of thing. Next is the tremor. Now the tremor shake is not quite as powerful, and it states the lair in a 60-foot radius around the dragon, so it has to be around the dragon. Each creature other than the dragon on the ground, have to be on the ground, can't be flying, okay? They must succeed at a DC 15 dexterity saving throw, or they're knocked prone. So that's pretty tame. It doesn't do very much, but it has a long range, and you can affect quite a few different characters. This is probably the one that I would use the least. Does that make sense? Then the next one is the volcanic gas. Now the volcanic gas is pretty potent because it imbues conditions rather than causing hit point damage. Hit point damage is nice, but some of the conditions that you can part onto your player's characters are vastly more powerful. So volcanic gas from a cloud in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point the dragons can see within 120 feet. So your range is quite large and it's an area effect, so it's very, very powerful, this effect. The sphere spreads around corners, very nice, and its area is lightly obscured, so it's going to affect vision. It lasts until the initiative count of 20 on the next round. So it's going to last a whole round, which is awesome. Each creature that starts its turn in that cloud must succeed at a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. Now, a DC 13 Constitution saving throw is pretty low. If you're dealing with adult red dragons or ancient red dragons, most of the characters are going to be quite high and they're going to have no problem saving that particular DC. But that's beside the point. So it does have some effect, but the DC is very, very low. And I would say this is probably more powerful than your magma eruption. So I've gone over that. Basically, you're going to become poisoned if you fail a save. If you fail a save, they are poisoned. And that's going to be until the next turn. So it's only going to last one turn. But while poisoned in this way, they are also incapacitated. Now, I've done a video on incapacitated. It's a really bad condition to have. It pretty much will shut down the player's characters. So very, very powerful. So what you do when you're using these is you decide out of the three which one you want to use. And on the following round, the dragon or the legendary creature can select another one. You can't pick the same legendary or lair action. You can't pick the same lair action every single turn. You can't say, okay, I'm going to just do this one all the time. Okay, so on the previous turn, you're going to have to pick something else. So I would bump it back and forth from the magma eruption to the volcanic gas. If you really want to do the tremor shake, you could, but I think it's a bit tame. So that's what you can use in combat. Now there are the regional effects. Now there are 3 regional effects for the red dragon. One, it states here, small earthquakes are common within 6 miles of the lair. So that's really cool, but it's not going to necessarily do anything in the middle of combat. What it's going to do is going to add a little bit of flavour and interest as they are journeying to that lair. Does that make sense? Water sources within 1 mile of the lair are supernaturally warm. So they are warmed up and they're also tainted by sulfur, which means they're not going to be drinkable. You don't go drinking sulfur in water. It's not good for you. So that's another thing. They're going to have a lot of trouble actually finding water sources that are close by. And it's also another, I guess it's another indication that they are in a volcanic location, and it's also, they might not know, but they are also getting closer and closer to the dragon lair. The last one is pretty interesting. Rock fissures within 1 mile of the dragon lair form portals. Now these portals go to the elemental plane of fire, which means that elemental creatures can pass through that portal and may reside or dwell in the location around the lair. So it's essentially created its own little minions. You've got to get through the elementals before you get to the dragon lair. Now these all take place all the time. Regional effects just keep going. If the dragon or the legendary creature is killed, there's usually a stipulation about how long the regional effects will stay on. In this case, you roll a 10-sided dice, and that's how many days it's going to last. So that is the basics of lairs. You've got regional effects, you've got lair actions, and I've given you an example. I don't know if I need to necessarily say anything more, but if you found this video helpful or informative, please share, like, and subscribe if you haven't done already. Look, there is a bell button. You can press that and get occasional notifications. Although I don't think that really matters because I do a video every single day. So you know, if you look on my channel, you'll see, there's another video. But if you did find it helpful, it's I'm glad you did. That's awesome. If you have questions, you can ask those questions after I do my sort of sign out. I will stay on and answer questions. I will also answer any questions you decide to put in the comments if you weren't present for the live stream, or you don't want to be punching things in during the live stream and you feel a bit self-conscious about that process. Now, if you want to support my channel, the best way is to watch my videos. That's always one way, and try not to skip all of the ads. I know that skippable ad in the front, I skip them every time. That's just me. But if you want to support my channel, usually there's an affiliate link below where you can buy stuff online. If you buy stuff online, you support me. It doesn't cost you any more. And essentially, whatever the link is, I get a commission. That's all it is. I get a commission, and whoever you're buying from basically makes less profit because I get part of their profit. That's essentially how it works. That's the best way to support me. Now, I'm going to sign out, but I'm not going anywhere. Remember that. I'm not disappearing. I'm just saying, until next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay, I'm cooking, so throw out those questions if there are any. Otherwise, I am going to go and set up my new, I wouldn't say studio, I'd say more like office and gear, and hopefully learn how to use it properly. I have to say that even though the phone is low quality, it's quick and easy though. You know, it's so quick and easy. I can just sort of plug in a few things, turn it on, and she's away. So yeah, any questions about Lairs, layer actions, regional effects for a layer, I'll answer those questions. If you have a question about something unrelated to this, I'll do that as well. Stephen, what do you got here? Hey Fred, I just caught the tail end, but looking forward to watching your video. Well, cool. Yeah, I know I should advertise to people when I'm doing a live stream, but I'm just not in a position to do that, unfortunately. All I can say is I'll probably be live streaming every single day apart from a Sunday, New Zealand Standard Time. That's my intention. That way you guys get an opportunity to actually communicate with me rather than typing things in. You actually get to sort of get it directly from the horse's mouth. And I'm not saying I'm a horse or anything like that. Just saying that. No questions so far. If I hit 20 minutes, it's up to 17 and a half minutes. If I hit 20 minutes, I'm going to assume that there are no questions and I can go and move furniture and set up bits and pieces. Hopefully that answered all the questions that I can't even remember who asked me about Lairs. I had been planning to do something on Lairs for ages, but I wanted to sort of do it with miniatures, and I wanted to take my time with it, make sure it was nice and neat and tidy. But then I realized, well, you know, if I eventually get round to doing legendary creatures, layer actions are going to wind up getting tied into that anyway, so why would I worry about doing that? It doesn't make any sense. And the intention has always been to do more monster tactic videos, and using a layer is another tactic, essentially. It's another toolbox for a legendary creature. You know, one of the things you've got to remember about a legendary creature is you don't just have the creature's actions, and if they've got bonus actions that they can take, that's cool. That's the stuff they do on their turn, but they also have their legendary actions, that legendary creature, which essentially means you're dealing with another creature. And that thing, I would say it's almost like 3 creatures actually, but they take their turn on somebody else's turn, not the dragon's turn or the legendary creature's turn. And then on top of that, you've got the lair. If you're inside its lair, that's enough. So there's a lot going on. There's at least 3 different sources of things coming at you all at once. So we're almost at 20 minutes. I'm going to take another drink of water, and I'm going to assume that nobody has any questions. Oh, man. I've been playing around with doing a video on how to make a really cheap battle map. Like, really cheap. Simple as. No going to the stationery place or somebody, or a professional printer or anything like that. No, literally just making it yourself in the house and putting making it in the house. That's all you're going to need is a few resources that are pretty cheap, and you just make it up. So hopefully I'll get that video done at some point. I don't know when, but that is my intention. It will be coming. And I will do the final video for the making of the Oculo Swarm. I know those have been live streaming, they're long and ponderous, but I'm pretty sure there's little buttons and so forth on the bottom of the video that you can make my videos speed up if you don't want to watch it for an hour and a half or an hour, so you don't have to tolerate that, or if you're just sick of listening to my voice. So that's it for today. I'm not going to do any more live streaming. I'm going to get to work and get my new workspace set up and ready to go, and get all my gear set up and hopefully learn how to use it today. And I'll see you later. Where's that button? It's over here somewhere. There it is.